For the next 14, 15 or 16 days, you are going to track your emotions. And we are going to do that through the beautiful color displays in a little sketchbook. You don't have to write, it doesn't have to be anything miraculous. You can do it in front of the television while you're having some time out, or just play in that little journal when you feel emotionally drawn to do so. Let's start by introducing you to a essential oil. So if you haven't made your own, you can always buy a pre-made one. And the one closest to our mix for this month is the Lively Living's Love Potion. It can be as easy as opening up that bottle and letting the fragrance reach your nose. Smelling essential oils is a beautiful way to set the mood and also elevate your emotions. They do smell beautiful. Anyway, so we are going to play with the color wheel. Now, this isn't a proper color wheel, it's just a little circle that I included. And on the table, I also have a little booklet that I've been experimenting with the last 2 weeks, and I'll show you what I created. Now, this was to track my own moods and my own feelings as I went through the month. Some of them are unfinished, and that's all right for now. I'm not going to fuss over having everything perfect and all the faces drawn in or all the words added, or even if I wanted to add collage on top of these. Now I'm going to do my collage and writing and putting the gold in right at the very end. Maybe even on day 16. The whole aim is to grab your little sketchbook and at least once a day monitor your mood. See how you can catch your own thoughts and figure out what you are going through. It's a way for you to stay in the flow and to also find ways to uplift your mood, to feel a little bit better. Now, when I spray this out, this little folded sketchbook, you'll see it has 8 pieces on the front, which means you'll have 8 little pieces on the back as well. And they are not aligned when it's open like this, but they do align when you use the sketchbook closed. And you certainly don't have to do things the way I'm doing them. I literally wanted a little human to live in between the thoughts and the feelings and the emotions I was going through. And that's why you'll see little faces appear in some of these. Now, your colors may feel a little bit more muted. Mine are bright and cheery because my end goal is to reach a state of feeling happier and more joyful and not be in that melancholic place. So you're probably wondering how to fold this, and I used the Bockingford traditional watercolor 300 GSM, which makes it nice and sturdy and thick to use. But let me demo how to do the fold on a regular piece of paper. So you could use cardboard if you wanted, but paper will work just fine. So your first fold is just in half. Now this is an A4. So whatever you've got available is all right. So that's center fold. And if you have a bone folder with the thick paper, it helps to flatten it properly. Now, once you're done with this fold, just fold it over to that edge again and slide your finger from the middle up and down. That gives you a nice even layout. Then fold the page back on itself. This is going to make it easier to fold that very center line because the thicker paper tends to not want to move when we are doing our folds. This makes it easier to get that fold nice and clean, especially with a thicker watercolor paper. Again, going from the middle to the edge is just another way to help those ends align properly. Now, to visualize this, that first cut is going to be in the middle right there, and let's draw it on the template. That way you'll know in the future how to cut more of these little sketchbooks. The next cut will be on the left bottom from the middle to the edge, and that last cut from the middle to the bottom. This will give you a template that you can use later, as I mentioned, but it also helps to organize your mind before you go cut into your expensive paper. Now, it will be really helpful if you got everything together that you needed to do these next 2 weeks or 16 days and really come into your own understanding of what your feelings and moods are all about. Right now, you can go ahead and print the PDF. This is a companion document where you can see your own humanness through the color wheel of emotion. And that's what we are tracking this month. And in between my own relaxation times, I'm going to read this book by Louise Hay. I've read it before, but I think it's time for a revisit, for my own heart to feel like I can unconditionally love who I am. Lots of things happen in our lives, and when we learn to treat ourselves better, we find joy so much easier. There is only one person that can give you exactly what you need, and that is you. You cannot find it through the hugs and appreciation of other people. You cannot find it in compliments. You can only find it when you release and let go of that inner critic that is constantly driving our emotions out of sync with what our hearts really want. Now, I remember when I read this book initially, I was sort of skeptical, but that was just the parts deep within me that was still resisting this beautiful, heart based, joy giving book that I recommend everybody spend some time reading. And throughout our little practices, I'll be going over some of the things Louise Hay says in here, and maybe also add in my own 5 cents of things I've been going through while working through the book, and to give you some time to think about those heart thoughts. Now, it's also a beautiful way to learn to love yourself and accept the emotions you are going through. So, let's put the book aside and get to folding our book with the really nice watercolor paper. This is a large A3 size. When you tear it out, make sure you have the whole edge intact. So just go slowly, it will come out. A bone folder will be really helpful here, and a nice pair of scissors. So mark those corners by putting them down together, and then take your bone folder and fold from the center outwards. This gives a nice crease that aligns all those edges. Again, making sure that you smooth it out evenly. Next one is, as we demoed before, folding it to the edge and again pressing down lightly and then going over with the bone folder. With these thick pieces of paper, it becomes really difficult the more you need to fold it. But if you give it some guidance and nudge it over, you won't have unnecessary weird bends or folds. And some paper is even thick and dry and they tend to crack. But really good watercolor paper like the St. Cuthbert's that I'm using here is forgiving and a really nice watercolor to work with. This fold with all the other folds already in place is a little bit more difficult. So take a quick look at your template again and memorize or visualize where you need to make your cuts. My grandfather always taught me measure twice, cut once, because we don't want to mess up this more expensive paper and also not have to do it all again. So cut where it's needed and we're almost ready to fold the book into a lovely hand-held size that you can take with you wherever you go and fill in your little moods when the time suits you. It doesn't have to be a specific time every day. I know that right now it's still early in the morning for me, and I'm making time to build my little sketchbook. And once it's done, I know I'll be ready for action. There you go. Smooth out those edges, make it nice and flat, and you'll see it will um, fold easily and be exactly what you want it to be over the next 16 days, or 14 or 16 days. Doesn't matter how many times you want to fill in your book, as long as you make the effort to come to it often and monitor what you are feeling, how you are feeling, and also to see if you can use a little bit of color and those essential oils to uplift your mood, to feel better, so that you can face whatever is in your life, what's happening at the moment, and be on your own side instead of criticizing. Now, it's really helpful to put your little template in a safe place in case you want to make another book. And yes, it will always be there. Now, I have one request for you, and that is to just for a moment put your little sketchbook aside and go ahead and print that PDF. I want you to read it from cover to cover before we go any further. Once you've done that, come back and we will work on this. I'll catch up with you maybe later this afternoon. All right. I cannot wait to hear what your thoughts are about how we can elevate our emotions. Welcome back. It is afternoon and the weather has turned. It is chilly outside. Anyway, I'm getting my desk ready and I know most of us are expecting these sad, dreary feelings, but I'm feeling very excited. And I'm sure that all the thoughts in my mind is going to show in today's little session. And for that, I certainly need brighter colors. So I'm going to quickly rinse this off with my water brush and get some clean areas to work in. I really don't want any browns or neutrals or muted tones for the way I am feeling today. So, phew, life happens, and sometimes those good days just come around and they linger. And if you're not having a good day, I hope that just this little section alone will uplift you and give you some inspiration to also feel better when you finished your little sit down. So I don't have any clue what I'm going to do. I do know that I want a little human in there that will represent me. I was thinking about putting a flower crown on her head, but maybe her head should be like a vase that grows flowers. And those flowers would be happy thoughts and great ideas and all kinds of inspirational things, which resembles the way I feel today. So I've put away the book and I've put away my other little sketchbook journal, and I'm just going to focus on this one for now. Now, in the corner between my paint palette and my water jar, I have placed a little reminder, and that loose section of flowers there is my reminder to stay loose. I don't want to tighten up, and I don't want to put in every single painstaking little detail. All I want is the freedom to create and let the watercolor play on this beautiful paper. I don't really mind what it turns out like. All I know is I want to have fun while I'm sitting here and creating. And I'm pretty sure that's why you are here as well. To turn a bad mood around, or maybe celebrate a good mood. So I'm going to put some music on so we can finish this with our own thoughts. That only took a few minutes, and I'm feeling more elated and joyful than I was before I sat down. I'm sure this little practice is going to help you feel so much better and will give you the best experience to really find your way back to yourself and to the feelings you want to feel. For now, I'm happy with what I've created here, but I do want this little journal or little sketchbook to be part of my mood tracking for the month. And I don't want to play in it with other intentions. So maybe add a little extra layer here and there. And when you're done with that, put it aside, let it dry. Let the thoughts linger in your mind about how you've uplifted yourself, how you've maybe thought about things you haven't thought about in a long time, and also how you are setting the tone for how you want to feel, not only today, but in the future. And once you've set that tone, may no other person or thing or event take any of that away from you. Now I'm going to let this dry. You can really sit down anywhere, enjoy yourself with loved ones. This will take only a couple of minutes. And while they are busy checking emails or watching their favorite program on television, you can indulge in what you want to do. Right now, I'm sitting on the couch with my watercolors, my pencils, and I have a warm cup of hot chocolate to drink. But most importantly, I'm being present and being there instead of sitting in the studio working for the rest of the day because I gave myself off and I gave myself permission. And I want you to give yourself permission to play and create, discover what moods or emotions you are going through, and put them on your small little sketchbook. Decorate it in any way you want. I'm just going with the flow of what's in my mind and what's current in my abilities and creating a little girl that most likely represents me. So don't forget to have fun and be mindful. And while the ideas are fresh in your mind, just go ahead and fill in that one page. But just be mindful not to go on to tomorrow's page before tomorrow arrives. We want to keep one page a day, but here's a little tip for you. Make sure you have a separate sketchbook or a piece of watercolor paper so you can continue your playful activity. I go through the same thing where I get so wrapped up in this creative process and just want to keep on going. And having a separate little sketchbook that I can continue this journey is exactly what helps me to stay focused in one sketchbook at a time. This just helps to organize your mind and keep your creative ideas in one or two little journals and maybe have one large sketchbook where you can practice and practice all the new things you are learning. And if you've got time, turn your 10 or 15 minutes into an hour and make your own happy hour. Make your own little creative practice and dedicate some of your precious time to being with yourself and enjoying something you want to do over and over.